What's up? It's Alexander Madison, running back from the Minnesota Vikings, and you're watching Clock Management.
Knocked down. Oh, he caught it! Oh, unbelievable! This is amazing. So you played in the NFL. What's longer, a half or 5/8?
5/8 is a little longer there, Joe. Your team is now on the clock. What is going on, everyone? It is January 3rd, 2020. I am Justin. As always, I'm joined by Perry.
What up, Justin? And do you believe in love at first sight?
I do now.
Well, that's good. I was getting ready to restart the call to try again.
And today we're also joined by Hussein the Brain from the Fantasy Couch.
What's
Welcome.
up, guys?
How you
welcome,
doing, man? Where can everyone find your podcast at, man?
It's everywhere. Fantasy Couch Podcast. More importantly, I'm a YouTuber, so check it out. Fantasy Couch. If you search for it, you can't miss it. But hey, man, had to hop into the podcast game. I mean, just think about podcasts. No one listened to it 5-6 years ago. Like nobody. And now everyone listens to, like, on average, what, like 4 podcasts? It's like
it's
crazy.
crazy.
Or at least 2, like
Yeah.
2 podcasts. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, I listen to a ton of podcasts. So
That's basically all I listen to nowadays. I don't even listen to the radio or anything like that anymore.
what's a radio?
Yeah, radio. That's some boomer ancient caveman.
I mean, I'm old, but
Let me guess. You also have CDs, huh?
I do. Oh, God. All right. So, Perry, what's the show about today?
The show today. Well, we're officially in the playoffs, boys. So the NFL playoffs, that is. So we're gonna go over our MVP for the year, most valuable fantasy player for the year, least valuable fantasy player for the year, and I know there's a lot of candidates for that one. So that'll be interesting to hear what you guys have to say. And then we got some playoff picks. So there, if you guys don't know, you can play fantasy throughout the NFL playoffs. It's a little bit different, obviously, as teams get eliminated, but we've got some players that we think might do well and might make it far into the NFL playoffs. So we'll be covering all that today, along with news no one cares about.
Yes. What'd you guys do before we get into the football stuff, what'd you guys do for the holidays?
Oh, man. The guest first.
Yeah.
How was your holiday?
I lost the fantasy football Super Bowl, and it was a Instagram experts league. It's a very important league to me. Maybe close, just off the top, close to 1 million total followers. And so I just stayed home and sobbed in my tears. I had enough of humans and talking to people. Like, I just, like, everybody just leave me alone. I just wanted quiet. It was so stressful. This is the most content I ever put out. And so I just was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. So I did absolutely nothing. And today I'm feeling a little bit better. And like today's the first day I had like real human contact. That's my story.
Justin, how about you?
I didn't, man, for New Year's, I didn't do anything. I stayed home. My wife ended up getting home late. So I waited for her. And then while she was taking a shower so we could get ready to celebrate, I passed out. And I woke up in the morning. So
Boomer.
yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, that's definitely boomer. So
I know.
Seeing a theme here, man.
I know.
I was gonna watch the town square with the ball, but yeah, you fell asleep. Like, oh man, that's like bad on top of bad. You made it like worse.
Well, I was talking to some of my friends, like, and playing video games with them and stuff, and they were drinking, and I was like, oh, I got to catch up to them. And so then I started making some really strong drinks. So that's why I ended up passing out.
Oh, okay. Well, I went out and got a cabin in the mountains with some friends and my wife, and we just hung out up there, sat in the hot tub, had some drinks, and enjoyed New Year's that way. So that was a lot of fun. I also lost the fantasy championship, by the way. So I was wallowing in my tears as well. I lost by 2 points. Oh God, I'm gonna be bringing that up all off season though. So get ready for that.
Perry, you want to get us through some news?
Yeah, I can go ahead and do that. So the news is going to be a little bit different going forward. There's not nearly as much happening, so there's less news. I do have some pieces, though, to talk about here. Dallas Cowboys have officially, well, is it official? I don't know. Reportedly, they'll be moving on from Jason Garrett. I haven't heard anything official yet, though. Have you guys heard anything?
I have all the details because I'm a meme connoisseur, and since Tony Romo was the source of like 50% of football memes. I know it's an ancient history, but since then we gotta, there's no Lynch, there's no Romo, so now now the football's basically fantasy's over, so it's all about I'm just waiting on this Jason Garrett stuff. So I've made numerous Jason Garrett memes, and I made a new one today. So the media is like he's going to get fired, and then he's texting everybody that they find new jobs, and then he gets fired. So this is just the media, and now he's not fired, and so that's what the memes were about, essentially. The media screwing with us, saying he's going to get fired, he's not fired, he is fired, he's not. But I think this is what reality is that his contract expires January 14th. So that's what, less than 2 weeks. In 10 days it expires. And then he's not expected to come back. But he's not fired yet. And when I post these memes and I'm reading the comments, I'm like, oh crap. But like 20% in the comments actually think this guy's going to keep his job. And I'm like, these guys are there's a realistic shot that Jason Garrett's going to be the coach. I think it's only 1%. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's there. I mean, it's there.
60% of those comments are probably people trolling, though.
No. I'm not trolls. Not trolls. This is my Facebook group. This is all fan. I call them. I can smell a troll. No, they're not trolls.
They're true believers.
And a lot of people are just catch some of the comments that don't even know what I just said. So even though they don't read my blurps and stuff, they just look at the meme. So they don't know quite exactly what's going on or why I posted the meme. It's more about what the media coverage than actual situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not trolling, but that's a fact, bro. I mean, I would have fired him by now. He's not fired. Maybe he's hanging on so Jerry Jones can get him another job, and he's just doing it the best possible way that he according to him, this is the best possible way to let him go, the easiest.
That's what I think.
Best way. But it's weird too, though. I don't know if I think that is the best way. Sometimes it's best to just cut things off right away.
Off.
This is a slow rip. This is an 8-year rip. This is slow.
I heard an interesting take that possibly they're trying to find another position for him within the front office. That they're trying to find something for him there, and that's why there's this slow burn. I will say they're not really putting themselves in a horrible position, considering that Ron Rivera is the only coach that's been hired. Which brings me to my next piece of news with the team up there in Washington hiring Ron Rivera. Fantasy relevant at all for 2020? How do you guys feel about Ron Rivera in Washington?
Yeah, go ahead, Couch.
I mean, I think this was like the no-brainer. Like, you had to make it. There's not a lot of good coaches like readily available. Mm-hmm. And he took the ping pong table out of the locker room.
That's right. Yeah.
That's my analysis.
They're getting serious now. So.
I think it's a good move for them.
I think it's an improvement.
Yeah.
Does it fix everything? No, but it's an improvement. Yeah. And then New York Giants fire head coach Pat Schumer. Yeah, no kidding. I don't think anybody's surprised to see that happen. Going 9-23 in 2 seasons doesn't earn you a job. So Ron Rivera gone. Pat Schumer gone, and Ron Rivera in at Washington. So
I actually heard a rumor that Tony Dungy is in talks rumored to be in talks with Dallas.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how much validity I put into that, but it's being floated.
Oh man,
it's Tony Dungy age. Google search. 64.
Oh,
so it's like
still in his prime.
My cutoff would be like 67. I'd say no for the age, but then he also has to think about that is like, if I keep this job for 4 years, I'm going to be 67.
Yeah.
Isn't Pete Carroll in his 70s?
Pete Carroll's
No.
I think he's like 68.
He's the oldest
He's
coach
the
in the
oldest
NFL.
coach. And
68, yeah.
Yeah, Pete
But
Carroll.
that man's in better shape than me, though. That man's not. He took off his shirt. He took off his shirt when Metcalf came in,
yeah.
and then I made this long Metcalf video, and the NFL claimed the entire video for that one
Oh man.
clip. And then I countered them. I said, "No, you're not." Look, I was like, "I know my rights," and they said, "Like, yeah, go do whatever." And they resubmitted the claim, and so all the ad revenue from that Metcalf video, there's a long video to like I put a lot of work into it. All the ad revenue, like the entire $40, goes to NFL Network.
They need
And
it.
guy, how about
They
we sip a beer now or what for that?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
pour it
yeah,
out.
yeah.
I don't want you to waste the beer necessarily, but yeah, that was whatever. They're so greedy.
Yeah.
And then I've got two pieces of player news that's fantasy relevant for the playoffs and also going into next season a little bit here. First one is more for the playoffs. Zach Ertz, we'll all be talking here in just a moment about some players that we like for the playoffs here. Zach Ertz is still not cleared for contact and was limited in practice today. He's got kidney issues due to a shot to the ribs that he took. I don't know if he's going to be playing this week, and to be completely honest with you guys, not cleared for contact on Friday is not a good sign.
Yeah, painful rib injury, and then he's got man, that's weird. I forgot the word, and then I remembered, then I forgot it again. Basically, he's got a cut,
Laceration. Yeah.
So that sounds like he's not, and then if he plays, he's got, he's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And it's going to
It'll
really
be in
affect.
extreme limited fashion.
It's going to be another, I forget his first name, but another Perkins game.
Maybe.
DFS, third string tight end for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Seattle in this game, especially with Zach Ertz out. So
Yeah, they have no passing options there outside Goddard.
yeah.
And Miles Sanders.
And then
Cowboys didn't make playoffs then. They lost to a team who has nobody to throw to. What?
Who knows, man? Who knows?
What? How that? And the coach is still there.
No, because that was just a race to the bottom, and the Cowboys won.
Yeah.
They all knew none of them were winning a Super Bowl, and that whole division wanted good picks.
That's not good picks, though, right? I think middle of the pack is never.
Yeah.
That's like the worst when you miss playoffs by one game.
Yeah.
That's the worst situation to be in. Look at the Dolphins are picking a ton of play. Like they're getting a ton of awesome draft picks.
Yeah, you missed the playoffs by one game in 2019. You're probably missing the playoffs by one game in 2020 as well. So.
Well, the Cowboys are always missing the. They're always 8-8. So.
Yeah. Staying in the Seattle Eagles game, Rashad Penny. It's reported that it's more than just an ACL tear with Rashad Penny. He's cleared out. They're going to clear out a bunch. They cleared out a bunch of like debris basically during surgery. But it sounds like he might not even be available going into 2020. Yeah. Are you guys avoiding Chris Carson in the draft coming up? Just from this news right now, gut reaction, way too early to tell.
Well, Rashad Penny or Chris Carson?
Sorry, Rashad Penny, not Chris Carson. My bad. I got those two are like synonymous for me.
Well, I mean, why would you draft him? I mean, that's really there's not really not giving me one reason to draft him. Even if he was healthy, he's not like a guy.
Like
target.
I might consider in a deep league, like if he was healthy, but now not at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna get drafted in the later rounds, but he's not a guy like I'm really. Going after if he was healthy, round 7, round 8, maybe he'd go. But so I was trying to get him I have Chris Carson in Dynasty. And so I was trying to get Rashad Penny. I just, he had 24 team roster. I'm like, I want to get his handcuff. And dude wasn't budging. I was trying to lowball him. And now I'm like, I'm not even going to give you anything for him now. It's like, whatever, a backup who's kind of a draft bust, who's it's like, no thanks.
Yeah. Okay, that's all the news I really wanted to talk about.
I'm just happy that Pete Carroll was finally honest about injuries.
Yeah, no kidding. Pete Carroll's always acting like he's giving his guys like
they should be playing
sensu
next week.
beans.
Is it injury I think he's just kind of dishonest in general, maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of
Likes
Dishonest,
close
always
games.
always in a positive light though. It's always positive, even though you know it's not. Like this guy's leg fell off. He might make it back. We're thinking about next week for him. Like,
Hey,
Pete
this
Carroll.
was Pete Carroll came in clutch though. Not for me, but like you guys probably, I get a ton of fantasy questions, and so people are like, "Do I start Lockett? Do I start Lockett?" I'm like, "Look, man, it's super risky. I don't know." But then that week where Pete Carroll said he's fully healthy, I actually told everyone who asked me, only a handful of people, but everyone, 100% of them, to start Lockett, and he did get 20 something fantasy points, and so that one time, I don't know. That was pretty huge for the Pete Carroll,
Yeah,
telling the
but by that
truth.
point, I've already discounted everything Pete Carroll had ever told me. I was like, I can't
Maybe
trust that source.
maybe that was part of it. Maybe and I'm being like 100% serious. Maybe he's like, because they don't care about fantasy. They
Yeah,
care, they want
winning
for
games.
strategy for winning.
Yeah,
And so they're like, look, I've been lying. Everyone's gonna know I'm lying. How about
yeah,
if that man's gonna ball out? He's part of the game plan. And he's fully healthy. If I just go up there and say it the same way, maybe they'll be like, "Oh yeah, he's lying." And then he went and he balled out. I don't remember exactly. I think he got like 27 fantasy points that week.
yeah. He killed it.
Just that one week.
Yeah, yeah.
That
That's what
was
he
it.
does, though.
Yeah.
One more piece of news before we move on. Did you guys see the Colts? A GM said that he was asked about Eric Ebron, and he said,
Yeah.
"We're ready to move on from him."
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to move on from him before the season even started. So
I just felt like that was a brutally honest response.
Well,
yeah,
they don't like him. It's
no, they
not
don't.
the player the like the skill per se, which has fallen off this year, but they just don't like him because he wanted more to be more involved, and they said no, and then he got hurt, and he's probably just don't like his attitude.
Yeah, I think there's conflict in the locker room with him wanting to get more targets.
Hmm.
Yeah, he was on my bust list
Yeah, oh,
be-
yeah,
Yeah.
he was
before
like at the top of mine.
before Luck even got.
Yep,
Uh,
yep. Because he just had
Yeah,
such a high touchdown rate
yeah, you can't. That's not
last
sustainable.
the prior season.
and Doyle was always hurt. That was why. That
Yeah,
was why Ebron. Look, Luck is. I'm sorry, Colts fans listening that are still hurt, wounded from the. I think you guys got over it. But at first they were really, really hurt over the news. Um, but the reason Ebron did well, 100% was because of Luck and because Doyle was hurt. And so I said this year, look, Doyle has a chance to be healthy. I don't like Ebron. Like that was it. That's how good Luck is. And Luck loves to throw to his tight ends. His tight ends always balled out. The
yeah.
only problem was that there was always two. It was
Yeah,
always that guy who looks like a caveman in the adult Skinemax movies. What's that guy's name? Because he looked just like that dude. That dude who felt he was on the Saints, Kobe Fleener.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Look at Kobe Fleener's on Skinamax, and Dwayne Allen's a fullback on the Patriots. This is who was balling. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kobe. They have done nothing after the Colts. Like they have combined for one reception after the Colts. So I'm like, this guy Luck is really good. So it wasn't Ebron. Ebron had that 1 year. That's
Luck,
it.
Luck was a Sith Lord. He believed in the rule of two.
I don't know that thing, but yeah.
let's move on,
Tight
Justin.
ends, yeah.
All right, let's
I
get.
think that was a really good start to news nobody cares about, Justin.
I may have been the only one who enjoyed that. All right, so news no one cares about. So I started doing these things on a positive note, and I'm gonna keep it that way. Derrick Henry saw a fan tweet out about their father having terminal cancer who was going to a game. So he went and met with the father one-on-one before the game and like signed some stuff for him and things like that right before they won their last game. So that was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, right on. Good guy, Derrick Henry.
Yeah. All right, Russell, getting into the real news no one cares about here, though. Russell Wilson wore some graffiti shoes that were designed by a local Seattle graffiti artist, and it was all over ESPN.
Scandal right there.
I know, because they could wear whatever cleats they want. Most people have like a charity behind them. Russell Wilson wore some graffiti cleats.
That's scandalous.
Jay Gruden says he's hoping for a head coaching opportunity.
Yeah, me too. Me too, Jay. You're competing with me, buddy.
He wasn't. I don't think he was that bad of a coach.
He's cursed by the last name, though.
He's terrible.
I don't think he's. I mean, who's gonna who's gonna win with that? With what's going on there?
I don't think that he's going to get an opportunity. I don't think that anyone else is going to bring him in for a head coaching job. No. I think he could probably get a job as a coordinator and then end up getting a head coaching job again.
Work his way up.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if he'll get an opportunity. I just don't I just don't think he's that bad. I just don't think. I don't. I say I got my top 3 cursed NFL teams. Washington's at the top.
Yeah.
And then pick your it's Lions and Chargers after that.
But I think that he, as the head coach, he has something to do with that. He has to take some of that responsibility for that.
Yeah.
But didn't he do okay?
I think
early on, he wasn't. He had some success.
Yeah.
After RG3 got hurt, like I don't think he was that bad, and it's not like things will. You really think things will get turned around with that cursed franchise right away? They did just fire. Got rid of Bruce Allen or whatever. Whoever that is, I'm not good with names, but it starts at the top.
Yeah,
and that's,
I think it was
again
more
with
like
the Cowboys.
The ownership.
Yeah, and we're talking about the Cowboys. Jerry Jones has a lot to do with it. So it starts at the end. And my cursed. I don't know anything about the Lions at how they are at the top. I know their GMs have been weak. Like they've been bad all around. But Chargers and Washington, a lot of people agree with. It starts from the top. Spanos and don't get me started with Washington, but I think a lot has to do with that. And I'm not even saying. I just want to say clearly, this is my point. Jay Gruden, I don't think he's bad. He was bad head coach. Not even saying he was great or good. I just don't think he's that whack. And man. Let's see what happens to Ron Rivera. Let me put it like that. Let's see what he's going to do.
That's true. But I don't think that's going to get him a coaching job as not being a bad coach.
Yeah, not a bad coach. That's his at the so sir, not a bad coach from Washington. And then he had that one video of him smoking a cigarette, really tore up, like at a bar talking to a blonde girl younger than him, I think.
I gotta.
You guys see that?
Video. No, but I'm gonna find it.
But just like anything you imagine, some drunk dude like downtown bar hopping. That was him. Like he's just like really messed up, like talking to a chick. And this was like he knew it was coming. He knew he was gonna get fired a couple.
Oh, it was
later.
Recent.
Yeah, it was like
even better.
It's like week 3, week 4, something. Like
he may not be a bad coach, but one winning season in 6 years, and that winning season was 9-7. So I don't know. I think he's pretty bad. I think he's worse than Jeff Fisher. At least Jeff Fisher could go 8-8.
Oh God!
I think Jeff Fisher
used
to be. I think Jeff Fisher used to be good, but some things they expire.
Yeah,
Jeff Fisher's expired. There's
his mustache.
Look at Vinatieri, man. He may have expired. Greatest kicker of all time, but he may have expired. And his expiration date said 2018 or 2019 January, right? That may have been it.
I think Jeff Fisher aged like milk, to be honest with you.
I don't know. Yeah, it's weird comparing an athlete to a coach, but yeah, there's definitely an expiration date. I think that expired with Jeff Fisher, and boy, when it expired, and it made everyone sick. That was so bad. What did Gurley say? He's like, we got an elementary offense. Like that was so bad. Then some young coach comes in, and you could see night and day the next year.
Yeah, NFL's always evolving. If you don't change with it as a coach, then you're gonna be phased out.
Yep. All right, Justin.
All right, last one. NFL finds the Patriots didn't do anything wrong with Spygate 2.0.
I was actually surprised. I'm
disappointed in myself that I was surprised.
I don't.
They're in the clear.
That's not. I did, I looked into this a little bit, and my job before I do fantasy football full time, and my job before was a videographer, and so not too many people were talking about the videographer, and what the ruling is the ruling that like that doesn't quite matter. So the ruling comes down to do we want to do something, like should we, how much should we go out of our way, and can we prove it? And so
Yeah.
it's those two things. So if they could approve it and they really wanted to, they think the Patriots should be punished, they would have. And so it's probably those two things. Because I hear a lot that Deflategate was kind of a correction from last time, from Spygate. So they overcorrected. And it kind of makes sense. Like, not much happened. They got caught cheating. And then Deflategate happened, which seemed to me not that big of a deal. And then they got
Yeah.
punished pretty significantly, pretty severely. And so this time it was again, like, they were clearly that videographer. I can tell you 100% that videographer was doing something he shouldn't, and he knew. And so what not, and and not like, when I say I'm a videographer, is like I filmed what he did. I worked with NBA players, college players. I've worked with Joe Mixon, John Madden in videography. So I film sporting events. Videographers are not like completely stupid people that are, like, he's got a brain. He's probably smart
Yeah.
guy.
He knew what he
Well,
should and
it's,
shouldn't do.
the people aren't thinking about this. Yeah, he's smart enough, right? And what's the chances he's a Patriots fan? Maybe, maybe not. Probably.
And what's the chances he wanted to get paid?
He was getting paid.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that what he was being paid to do was film that sideline. So
I
if
think
you
so
came back
too.
without it,
But nonetheless, even if he was going rogue, like, I know you're not filming 8.5 minutes of the coach on the sideline. That's not even good B-roll.
Yeah.
I seen the footage. It looked, I mean, if that's just for what you're filming, it looked like crap. You can't use the Bengals coach. Like,
Yeah.
it was so
and he
whack.
lied about what he was filming. Like, he was like, "Oh, I was just filming the empty field." And then when they look at it, well, that's not the field. That's the coaches.
He had that ready to. He had that ready to. What is he gonna say though? I mean, he's gonna
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I'm filming the signs." So whether he was going rogue or he was hired to cheat, I mean, it's gonna be tough to prove because Robert Kraft's a smart dude, but he definitely knew what he was doing was bad, and he was doing it on purpose. So he was trying to cheat for the Patriots. I know that 100%. Now, whether the Patriots, Kraft, Belichick knew, or he was hired by the team to blatantly cheat, we don't know that. But I'm gonna lean towards yes, since it is the Patriots. Like, they've been known.
Yeah, exactly.
With Spygate, I think it was probably a little bit more egregious, and I think that more was definitely known at who was doing what, because Bill Belichick was fined $500,000 for Spygate. The Patriots were fined $250,000, and the Patriots also had to give up their first round draft pick for the 2008 draft.
I thought
So
that was Deflategate.
that was Spygate. Yeah, that was
Yeah, and then
Spygate.
Deflategate, they got fined even more.
Bill
I thought they
Belichick.
lost the draft pick because of Deflategate.
They
Oh,
lost
it's
it.
Spygate.
They also
Yeah.
lost a draft pick for Deflategate.
Oh
No,
man, that's really.
Did they
Yeah.
lose for Deflategate?
I'm
I just
pretty
thought Tom
sure.
Brady was
This
suspended
is the
4
type of
games.
stuff that
Oh yeah, Tom Brady was just suspended. That's
that
what it
was for sure. Yeah, he was suspended 4 games, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
But the $500,000 that Bill Belichick was fined for Spygate is the largest in NFL history for a coach. So
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't make you want to trust these guys when something like this happens. So I'm kind of surprised the NFL just let it go.
I think it's just another case of the NFL having no consistency whatsoever when it comes to like actually managing punishments, with its players or coaches. So
Or they were like, it's the Bengals, let it. Slide.
No kidding.
Literally the worst team. In the
They're
league.
like nobody in Cincinnati's watching. At least the Patriots are watching.
ratings go up.
Oh.
Dude, the number one dynasty in the entire NFL versus the worst team is.
And they're
Yeah.
cheating.
Oh my god, it's crazy.
Nobody cares.
All right, well, that's
all
all
right.
the news no one cares about. Let's get into this MVP.
Fantasy
Yeah,
MVP.
fantasy MVP, more importantly. We'll let you go first, man. Who's your fantasy MVP here?
I got C-Mac written down, but then
I,
he was a top three pick. But
yeah,
I guess I'll go with C-Mac running back because I mean Lamar Jackson would be because he was drafted around round 10. But I guess I'll go. What is MVP? No one knows what the definition of MVP is anyway. So
yeah.
I think of fantasy. Always I'm thinking running back unless whatever. I'll go C-Mac.
Yeah, I was going back and forth between those two actually, and I ended up going with Lamar Jackson on it, just like for what you said, because like we always preach to go quarterback late, and like Lamar Jackson's like the perfect example of why to do that, is because like you said, you could pick him up in the 10th rounds and later in some drafts. I wrote down he was drafted outside the top 10, so top 10 quarterbacks. So if you were drafting a quarterback, like or if you're in a 10 man league, he wasn't drafted most likely.
I went with Christian McCaffrey as well, and the reason that I don't think Lamar Jackson's a fantasy MVP is because you didn't need to draft Lamar Jackson to do well at quarterback, right? Lamar Jackson obviously was really, really good, but you could have picked up many other guys and done really good, not really, really good. Whereas Christian McCaffrey full on carried teams, 287 carries, 15 touchdowns, 1,300 yards, almost 1,400 yards, and then another 116 receptions for 1,000 yards and another 4 touchdowns. It's great. I can't believe he played all 16 games with the amount of work he was getting.
I remember now why I picked C-Mac. So two reasons. One, he's on a really bad team where the coach got fired.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it was always like I was scared to say, but I was like, could he be like LT? And then it's like, yeah, he put up LT. Like, we thought that may or may not. It was a good chance that wouldn't have happened, or like it's one of those magical fantasy seasons. He was basically LT, and then he's got similar coaching situation with when Norv Turner.
Yeah.
And Norv Turner came there and did it. And look, Cam Newton's hurt. Kyle Allen is meh. And then the coach gets fired. The team is bad. And this guy still does it. He only really had one bad game. I think that was week 2 against the Bucs. Who's just got an amazing run defense. Ndamukong Suh, so underrated. And man, Bucs are the most extreme team. We give that award. Worst pass defense, most interceptions thrown by a quarterback, but like great run defense.
Yeah.
Most yards. He has the most yards, passing yards. Jameis, he's got 5,000. I think we would have heard if someone got 5,000 other than Jameis.
Yeah, he did.
And C-Mac also, just to round off here, only had 1 turnover all season as well.
That's incredible for everyone trying to focus in on you and murder you.
I joined a random league at my work. Like people are like, oh, we need one more person. I hopped in there, and I had C-Mac, Lamar Jackson, and Dalvin Cook on my team. Unfortunately, I didn't look at any of the stuff and like any of the rules on this league, and it ended up being a league that had their championship week 17. So I didn't have Dalvin Cook or Lamar Jackson in the championship, and I lost.
Crazy. All right, let's go and move on to least valuable player. There's a lot of candidates here. I'm curious. Go ahead, Couch.
This is just a cool way to say bust of the year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why I won't mention my notable guys till after you guys are done, but I'll go with David Johnson, and no need to really analyze the situation, but one of the reasons why it really stands out to me, other than the obvious stuff everyone knows, is that you couldn't get Drake off waivers, so there was no saving you with David Johnson, because you get David Johnson, right? You get Chase Edmonds. He was one of my sleeper guys I talked about in deeper leagues. So in a 10-team league, I'll be like, don't get Chase Edmonds. I'll be like, look, in a 12-team or deeper, He's a good handcuff. He's a good RB7 on your team, because most of my teams have 7 running backs, or at least 6 sometimes. So you couldn't. So since Drake was owned in like over 77% of leagues, in a 12-team league, you couldn't go pick up Drake when the news occurred. So the guy who I felt like was kind of not that smart of a move to draft Kenyon Drake in the draft gets rewarded with a stud, super elite running back all of a sudden now that he's in Arizona. So because of that, there's no way around it. Once you drafted David Johnson, you were done. And if you somehow were saved because you drafted Drake, well, that's just dumb luck, because you didn't know that the Dolphins were gonna be terrible at running back, and then gets traded to your bust that you just drafted.
Yeah, that's a good one. Justin, how about you?
So I love that one, by the way.
That's a good one.
He wasn't even on my list when because I made like 3 or 4 players, but I feel stupid for not putting him on there, because that's awesome. But Juju is mine, because he was drafted to be a top tier wide receiver, like in the first round of most drafts. There's no drama surrounding him, no new team where he goes to. Like, he is stepping into the wide receiver 1 role, and he got you less than 10 points a week in the first 2 weeks with Big Ben, and then it dropped off.
What about players that do a lot of commercials on TV? Baker Mayfield, Juju. Baker. These guys won't get off my television. Juju and Baker.
Right?
Both those guys could be on this list. Like, they were so awful.
Yeah.
So I've got I actually cheated. I got two, but you'll know why. So the biggest bust for me is Antonio Brown. I feel like that's that's low hanging fruit right there. Antonio Brown didn't even play, man. Actually, he did play. He played 1 game, and it was a huge teaser. And he was in my starting lineup. He got a touchdown. It was awesome. I won that week. And then he just went off the deep end. Justin, you nailed it when you texted me the other day about his latest tweet and said that he needs to be checked for CTE.
Yeah.
He is off the deep end, Antonio Brown. But the other guy I wanted to talk about, and maybe you guys wanted to bring this up too, but it's OJ Howard. OJ Howard was like a legit drafted as a top 5 tight end, by a lot of people, me included. I really liked OJ Howard. I know Jameis Winston throws interceptions, but God, he's going to throw a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards too. And OJ Howard, you expected to be the recipient of at least 5 to 6 of those touchdowns. OJ Howard finished with 34 receptions for 459 yards and 1 touchdown. That's horrible.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. You just can't catch a ball.
No, OJ Howard's terrible.
He did get targets too. I was actually going through stats.
Most targets of his career.
Yeah,
most targets of his career, 53 targets.
And he had under 50. I think under 50% catch rate.
Not quite that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Eric Ebron looked better.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The dude OJ Howard looked lost out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are your honorable mentions?
Well, Odell, I think we don't have to look at it. It's not that important. But I think his ADP was slightly higher than Juju.
Yeah.
Because, he's more of a name, right? Juju's more of like, why people draft him. Because the AB's not there. I had Juju ranked ahead of Odell. But I think Odell's ADP, like I said, it was 1 or 2 spots higher. And then, I had Juju, of course. And I also want to say that people that asked me this question 4 weeks ago, we talked about Saquon a lot. But Saquon absolutely isn't close to this list, because when you need him, like, look, man, you guys talking about Dalvin Cook, you lost because of Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
Coming in clutch and scoring 30 fantasy points per game in the playoffs, that's exactly what you needed.
Right.
And so Saquon came in clutch. He got his groove back. He did, he's human. That's just what he showed us, is that he's human, not the best O-line, not the best coach. And the injury situation, both mentally and physically, was tough to overcome. But all he needed was that one Dolphins game? Baby, he was back.
Yeah. And what that also proved is that CMC is not human.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah, I was wrong about him. I ranked him number 3 overall on my rank. Before the preseason because I just felt like I had to. I was like, I don't like him that much, but he's got to be top 3. He's got to be number 3.
We both had him as
had
our
him
number
101,
1.
yeah.
After.
Yeah, you guys know something, man. You guys, and this was before the season started.
Yeah.
Good for you guys, because I'll admit I was wrong, and it's kind of crazy to say I picked him at number 3 and I was dead wrong, but how good he was! Like he was about Saquon plus Kamara combined, and then maybe like a Gus Edwards. He's like 3 running backs combined, like the top 3 running backs other than him all combined. Like Bell plus Kamara plus Saquon.
And then you could throw a
C-Mac
receiver
outscored all
in
3
there.
of them, I think. Yeah, I think C-Mac outscored all 3 of those running backs combined.
Because he was also an amazing wide receiver.
He's like top 10 wide receiver on the NFL.
Yeah, and that helped him a lot in those games that were just horrible with a horrible quarterback where they were behind.
Yeah.
He's sitting there at 5 fantasy points, and all of a sudden he catches 7 balls, and it's like, hey, thank God I play PPR, and I'm not, hopefully like you, I'm not stuck in 1990 fantasy league that's non PPR.
No, we play PPR for sure.
All your guys' leagues are PPR. Don't lie.
All at least half point. Half
point's fine. Half point's fine. Yes, I play all PPR as well.
So we mentioned Odell Beckham as a possible bust, but I kind of wanted to talk about Odell Beckham because I know how you feel, Justin. But he played all 16 games. He had 74 receptions, which is just 3 less than last year. Obviously, those numbers are down, right? We expect him closer to like 90 plus receptions. But he had 1,035 yards. He had 4 touchdowns. Is Odell Beckham truly a bust, or is he just an underperformer?
Because that's the thing is like see with Juju is like he's gone. He's dead to me. It's over. At least you can go and try to find a wide receiver. You know what I mean? With Odell, you're in that limbo where you're like, do I start? Like in a 10-team league, you're not starting Odell. That's what's crazy. And so Odell's the guy that you probably started when he let you down and you lost. And then you probably benched those couple games where he was startable. Yeah. And so that's why Odell and Juju is like, you knew, like, it's right. You knew, like, Juju's not even top 30. Yeah. And so I go find AJ Brown or Kenny Stills or, wide receivers are. There's literally 20 of them Debo Samuel. Debo Samuel's better than Juju and Odell. Towards after the second half, after they traded for Sanders, I heard. I'm a Niner fan. After they traded for Sanders, I heard that Emmanuel Sanders helped them. Yeah. And then right after that is when Debo started balling. It was like night and day.
Yeah, I mean, you could even look at Jarvis Landry on the same team.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry. Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he's a candidate for biggest bust, Odell Beckham, but he's certainly a bust. And man, I'm horrified to try and figure out what I'm going to do with him in my rankings next season too.
He had good. He got a ton of targets. He actually had quite a bit of receptions. Yards he's good on. It was the touchdowns and then the amount of like the catch percentage was bad.
You guys are going off traditional, like this is how traditional analysis. But the point is that I feel like I could have won a Super Bowl with Juju. Like
absolutely,
probably not.
No.
I feel like you can't overcoming Odell was tougher. Like you guys saying 1,000 yards, like that sounds like okay. Yeah. Like that. I mean, it's not like it isn't like drastically bust. Like I guess I can see what you mean. You can't label him bust of the year. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, like he is up there. Like comparing him to Juju, like what do? You when you start him, you lose, and then when you bench him, you lose because those are the games that he does. He may have done the best in, and so like Odell's just like really tough to overcome. I don't know what I'm talking about. Juju, like if you drafted Juju, you lost to, right? I mean, let's just. Be real. Like
we're picking the biggest loser here.
Yeah, I mean it's close. Like both those guys really, it was really hard to overcome, and then David Johnson to me is the ultimate because if you could pick Drake off waivers, I'd be like, okay, there's a way out. But you can't find a running back. There's no running back. So
That's true. Yeah, that's why I really like that one. But yeah, for me it was Juju. I like the David Johnson though. I think I might actually like that more than Juju, just because he also had a higher draft capital.
yeah, someone drafted him number 1 overall in my league. That experts league.
Wow.
A lot of
so that guy's out of the league now. You need a new spot, right? You need someone to fill that spot.
Entertainment, man. A lot of clown emojis in the comments. It was flooded. Like, it was so bad. And hey, he took a risk, and then the clown emojis were right. He was wrong.
All right. Let's move on here to the playoff challenge picks here. I don't know, Couch, if you do the playoff challenge, but I certainly don't. But there are people out there.
Yeah. So
I just did a live stream before I hopped on this podcast where can I say the name of the site I did it on? Yeah. So I partnered up with Drafters, and so there was a site called Draft App,
mm-hmm.
and so this is like the direct competitor. So just saying, like, it's because it's like similar, what do they call it? Like the quick snake drafts?
Yeah.
So we just did a bunch of snake drafts for the playoffs. And I did just really quick research before I hopped on with you guys. There's a bunch of different contests and this and that. So the one I did was you do the snake draft and you pick players from any of those 12 teams that made the postseason. But I just hopped on NFL.com and they have one for every round. And
so that's what I was going to say. There's 2 different types, basically. The ones where you keep your players through the whole playoffs and you get multipliers for each round. Or there's the one, like you said, where you repick every week.
Right. Yeah.
No. Well, the one we did on the snake draft was it's like best ball.
Yeah.
One straight draft, and then it's over. And so picking. So is every contest the one on NFL.com? I don't know if you saw it. It has like you pick your teams for every round. Like, it's so weird. But from what I've always heard, like, because I've seen the commercials and when people talk about it, read articles, is if you can draft players that make it deep in the postseason, that's better. And then extra bonus point if you draft players in the wild card round that make it all the way to the Super Bowl. That's an additional game. So that's what I think that's one of the main rules in this, is that you want to pick players on teams that have a shot of going far. But if you're also playing in a big pool, this gets into GPP rules. So it's okay to pick players that no one else is picking. There's not a lot of players to pick from. Let's say there's 5 players on each team. That's only 60 players, as opposed to, in regular fantasy football, it's 300 players to pick from. There's only 60 players. So everyone's going to have the same people. So the same players. So if you're playing like in a big pool, like on some kind of contest on a site that's free, it's very hard to win, you might as well pick some crazy players because you're going to probably be wrong. So if I have a 15% chance of being right, let's say, like Drew Brees is kind of my guy. So I'm like, all right, there's a 15% chance this pick will work out and I'll do good. But then maybe like Josh Allen's only, let's say, 7% chance. I'd rather go with Josh Allen because no one else might pick him, and everyone might pick Brees. Julian
Edelman, maybe. Yeah. One of those guys. Could go deeper into the playoffs playing in the first round, wild card team.
Yeah, or an AJ Brown.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
I know one thing for sure. One of y'all is going to be wrong because they're playing each other.
Yeah.
It's really like that's what's cool. And then everyone, because I had a poli-sci a professor, and I guess a lot of people asked, I don't know why this came in my head like a few days ago, everyone would ask him who's going to win the election, and he's like, I don't know. And then everybody asked me, like, when I talk to like anybody, like not necessarily my fans or like exact fan, they're like, who's going to win the Super Bowl? Dude, none of us know, especially see with the NBA, we had a good idea for 7 years, but we really have no clue. I'm telling you, you're probably going to be wrong. So if you're in a big pool, just pick a bunch of crazy players. Why not? It has to make sense. Has to be within the strategy.
Yeah,
so pick players on similar teams, you know. And of course, like, if you pick AJ Brown, and it's a big pool, don't pick Edelman. That's dumb because you're not gonna, you're hedging yourself. So you're gonna be right in the middle of the pack.
Right. You want to take AJ Brown and Tannehill.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be in most of these type of contests. You want to finish first place, whether it's the snake draft that I just did with an 8-team snake draft or 6-team snake draft. That's still hard to win because you have to beat all those 5 people or 7 other people. So yeah, separate yourself and go all, like, it has to be a certain strategy, but the strategy could be kooky, like the Bills winning the Super Bowl, probably not gonna, or the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, something like that. It's probably not gonna happen, but then you're gonna be one of the few. But if it does, there's only about less than 3% of people have an even similar team to you.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys want to just run through what like the lineup, Justin, but I played this as if the team I pick is the team I get for the entire playoffs. There's no redrafting in the second round, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I picked it. So I picked a lot of Saints, to be completely honest with you. Because
took Saints and Titans, with the Titans just being my long shot one.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll just run through mine real quick here. I got Drew Brees. I think we're all in agreement there, probably. Alvin Kamara. And then I got Mark Ingram, who's got a first-round bye. Michael Thomas, Julian Edelman. Then I got George Kittle, Will Lutz, and then the San Francisco 49ers defense.
Yeah, I grabbed Breeze, Michael Thomas, A.J. Brown, Kamara, Henry, Cook. I put Aaron Jones in my flex, and then the Saints defense.
Okay. Do you guys do you guys get tweets? You guys interact with?
Oh yeah.
So one of the especially with me with a big following, not showing off, but just talking about strategy here. I get a small.
We get it. You got a lot of subscribers, man.
Yeah, followers in general, but that's not the point. But I get to hear what the people are thinking, and just from this group of us 3. Because I got Breeze as my guy. If I'm in a big pool, I'm not picking Breeze. Because here's why. Because the chances are, if I pick Breeze, there's a good chance I'm wrong. And then if I'm right, there's a good chance I'll still lose. Because half the people pick Breeze. Or a third of the people. That's crazy. So I got Breeze as my number 1 too. Just from us 3 knowing everyone's gonna pick Breeze. And my other guys are Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, because I'm looking. I got it up right here. If Josh Allen Texans coin flip. I think Titans Patriots coin flip. Seahawks Eagles coin flip. I think the Seahawks will win. But still. And then you have the Vikings Saints, and we all think the Saints will definitely win that. So. If the Bills advance, I mean, if they can win just one more game, I mean, we're talking, it's crazy. But any teams from that have like a road where they can do something. So I think Josh Allen is kind of the quarterback I would pick, purely because it's contrarian. And then I like Kamara. I love Mark Ingram, Aaron Jones. And that's what I would do. If you have Lamar Jackson, maybe you want to pick Mark Ingram, and that way you go all in on the Ravens scoring a ton of points in the Super Bowl against my Niners, and then losing by 3 points.
You and me both, man. I'm a huge Niner fan too.
Oh, dude, I work with Steve Mariucci.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous.
I met all those people, and we're you guys are in California?
No, we're actually in Seattle.
Oh, wow.
But neither one of us are Seahawk fans.
Oh wow, yeah, I'm in Northern California, so I'm a huge Niner fan. Work with Steve Mooch is just like he is in like you see his personality in real life. He's exactly like that, all exuberant and like, whoa, go here, all right, like he's he's politicking, he's moving his hands, he's got those piercing blue eyes. He looks at you, he's like, get out of my face, I love you, how you doing? Get out of here. Like he's so. I mean, he doesn't say that, but that's exactly what he's trying to tell. He's all right, good. I don't want to see you again. I'm like, and when he does that to me, I'm like, hey, and I love this guy. It's like so amazing to see that. It's all personality. Mike Thomas, right? Did you guys say Mike?
Yeah.
Mike Thomas is like everyone's gonna like that.
Yeah.
Actually, out of every single player, Mike Thomas is number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just did drafts. I wasn't like thinking about it, and then I was like, "Oh crap, I got the first pick," and I'm like, "I'll go with Mike Thomas." Like he's the best. Like he could have been
the best player in the playoffs, fantasy wise.
Yeah.
And then when we're talking about MVPs, he would probably all be our third choice: C-Mac, Lamar Jackson, Mike Thomas, because that type of consistency is insane. And if you're in a PPR league, he wins you leagues.
Yeah.
I believe he's the bigger league winner than C-Mac just because of the playoff like when he got scored that 30 points.
67 points is the difference between him and the number 2 wide receiver, which is Chris Godwin. 67 points scored in a half-point PPR.
That's not a lot because Godwin was hurt.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's also healthy. He did it,
Yeah.
and he didn't get hurt.
Wait, why'd you say that stat? What was that stat supposed to? Was that supposed to be a big difference?
That is a big difference. When
Godwin was out 2 games.
Yeah, but when Michael Thomas scored 300 fantasy points, 67 fantasy points that's a significant amount. Imagine he scored 67 less fantasy points.
Imagine if Godwin played 2 more games.
Yeah,
but
so
Godwin's
you're saying
not going
Godwin's
to
going
score
to score 30
60
points a game in this?
How about if he scored 47? So
Yeah.
now your stat becomes 20.
Yeah,
Which
that's true. But Godwin was also amazing this year too.
Yeah, Godwin was the number 2.
That wasn't his stat. His stat wasn't, look, Godwin's a god, and then Michael Thomas is a slightly bigger god. That wasn't his stat.
Slight?
His stat
So
was
67 points is slight?
Well,
67 points is not slight.
but you can shift stats any way you want. And so one guy on this podcast is saying, but he got hurt, and so let's banish Godwin to the never foreseen.
Wait, who's saying that?
67.
Me.
You guys,
But
yeah.
no, I'm not saying banish him. I'm just saying that it's just more impressive that he hasn't had those type of injuries. I love Godwin too.
I mean, you're not starting Godwin after he gets hurt. So, I mean, it sucks, but it's like if you had Godwin, then you picked up Perryman. Hey, that's like great because Perryman balled out all of a sudden. No one really saw that coming, though. So
Yeah, not the first game. And then the second week he didn't. That jerk.
Okay, how many? Who's number 3 then? Okay, so Mike Thomas, Godwin. Maybe they're both ahead of number 3.
Julio Jones.
Probably way ahead of him.
Do you know how many points, Barry?
Julio Jones had 224 points, which was less than 10 points behind Chris Godwin.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Dang.
But that guy stayed miraculously healthy this year.
He missed 1 game.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
one though. Yeah.
Cooper Kupp was 4th.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp really.
And he only had 1 point less than Julio Jones.
Man.
So the gaps between 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5 are minuscule, while the gap between 1 and 2 is 67 points.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But we can keep changing these stats and say Godwin was drafted round 5 though. Ooh.
Yeah, you could have had both of them.
Yeah. Oh, tell me. I drafted Godwin in all my leagues, but I screwed up in the first rounds where I screwed up. Where I could have got guys like Dalvin Cook or Mike Thomas.
Yeah.
My team could have, I could have won the Super Bowl, but
I traded Philip Lindsay for Chris Godwin pre-week 1.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was all in on Godwin, and like I did really well in those early mid rounds. It's just guys like David Johnson fell to the 11th pick overall for me. I was like,
Yeah, I would have taken
I
him.
was like, what is wrong with you guys? You guys are idiots. I was like, David Johnson. I should have drafted Mike Thomas or Dalvin Cook, a real player. Jeez.
Okay. Well, let's wrap the show up, guys. I appreciate you joining us, man, and giving us some of your time.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to link your podcast in the description here too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Check me out, Fantasy Couch. I'm on literally everything: website, fantasycouch.com, YouTube, podcast, Jason Garrett memes all day on Instagram. Lots of fun there. But most importantly, definitely check me out on YouTube, guys. I started this Let's Draft series where I film myself drafting and then put my face, call it a face cam. I took it from the gamers. I invented that, and then like the channel just took off, and everyone's copying me, and which isn't important, but like just saying like that, this is home of the Let's Draft series, and boy, it gets intense.
Yeah,
People love making fun of me.
I actually just watched a few of those.
Oh, okay, yeah. Did you scroll through the comments by any chance?
No, I didn't. I will now though.
Oh man, it's all people making fun of me, and it's great. It's great because even when you draft a killer team, everyone will tell you you're so wrong. You're a joke. You're not an X. There's just no way
Oh,
that
absolutely.
everyone's gonna be like, "Oh man, you're so smart. You drafted the best team." Is even if you do that, they'll be like, "All right, what kind of league is this where you got everybody? Like you're in a joke league. Get out of here."
Yeah, I just posted a picture of like some team with all the top players from this season, which you could have drafted because what round they were drafted in, and then what grade that ESPN gave it, or not ESPN, Fantasy Pros gave it, and they gave it a C.
That's not bad. Because it could have been a D minus. Like though,
Yeah.
if you get a free grade generated by a basic algorithm, like don't expect much.
But
Yeah,
that's the
C.
general public reaction to it, when you're drafting live, they're like, "Oh, that team's horrible."
Yeah, the people would have gave it like let a C at the highest if
Yeah.
you drafted that Lamar and Dalvin.
Yep, and CMC
Yeah.
first overall.
Chris,
Okay.
you draft Chris Godwin round 3, like people would be like, "What are you doing? Like you're an idiot."
All right. Well, yeah, we'll wrap this up, and we'll see everyone next week after this first week of the playoffs. See how that goes.
Right on.
Peace
Go
out,
everyone.
49ers.
Go Niners.
Go Broncos. Oh wait, God.